You know, those moments in sport,
Yeah.
you feel them like they mean something.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the report you sent over on Arsenal beating Real Madrid in the Champions League, that definitely felt like one of those moments, a real statement win.
It really did. And looking at this analysis, I mean, it's super detailed. It breaks down exactly how it wasn't just luck, right?
It does, yeah.
It shows the key moments, the smart tactics, and some, well, frankly, brilliant individual play that just clicked for Arsenal.
Yeah, because let's face it, going up against Real Madrid, the holders, at this stage, that's always a massive ask.
Huge.
And for Arsenal, well, their history in this competition, it's only 2 semifinals before this.
Yeah.
And that final loss in Paris 2006, that still stings for a lot of fans. So this feels significant.
It really does. And that's what we want to get into today for everyone listening. We're not just scratching the surface.
Nope.
We're going deep into the how and the why of this Arsenal win, looking at the tactics, the mental side of it too, everything that made it so, well, compelling, maybe even historic.
Okay, let's dive in. The report really goes into Bukayo Saka's night. What a story there.
Oh, completely. I mean, stepping up for that penalty, the Panenka,
Yeah,
that didn't come off in a game like that. That could absolutely crush a player mentally.
for sure.
But, and this is what the report really highlights, he showed incredible character. He didn't just disappear after that.
Not even close. Because later on, bang, scores the winner. Another lifted finish, perfect this time, over Courtois. Talk about bouncing back.
That's pure mental strength right
Yeah.
there. And we obviously can't forget Gabriel Martinelli getting that second goal to really seal it. Those two moments, huge.
Absolutely massive moments on the scoreboard. And beyond just this game, this win puts Arsenal in the semis for only the 3rd time ever.
Yeah.
That's big for the club, isn't it?
It's a proper landmark. And, you know, the story gets even richer because the semifinal takes them back to Paris.
Yeah.
You can almost feel the echo of that '06 final, can't you? It adds this whole other layer.
And get this, here's a little nugget from the report I found fascinating. Arsenal are the only team to play Real Madrid twice in Europe and never get knocked out by them.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite the stat against the kings of the competition. Did the report suggest why that might be? Any theories?
That's a good question. It doesn't go super deep into the history behind that specific stat, but it definitely underlines that Arsenal, for whatever reason, seemed to match up well. Now, the report does make an interesting point comparing this second leg to maybe how a first leg might have gone. It suggests, maybe Arsenal would have been more attacking at home, but this win showed something else. Professional resilience.
Right. So less about blowing them away, more about grit. Standing firm.
Exactly. Absorbing that pressure, keeping their shape, shutting down Real's attack. The report says they professionally withstood Madrid's attack, and that whole psychological thing of Madrid needing that remontada.
Yeah, maybe explain remontada quickly.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's just that Spanish term for a comeback, usually a big one in a knockout tie.
Yeah.
So Arsenal had to resist that whole narrative, that whole push.
Okay.
And yeah, the report mentions Saliba's slip for the equalizer.
Which was so unlike him.
Totally. But the report immediately points out how rare that was. It stood out because the rest of the defense was so solid, so assured.
It really sounds like a team effort.
Yeah.
The report uses that phrase, more than the sum of their parts, which is pretty amazing when you think they were missing. Gabriel Magalhaes didn't really have a classic number 9.
And that comes down to the manager, right, Mikel Arteta. The report gives him huge credit for that team spirit, that tactical discipline.
All right.
But it also singles out Martin Odegaard, calls his performance supreme. His creativity, his leadership sounds like he was vital.
Yeah, he seemed to be pulling the strings. And the report also shouts out Timber, Lewis Skelly, Kiwior. Sounds like everyone played their part, but with some real standout displays.
Absolutely. But the biggest praise, that seems reserved for Declan Rice. Called it a career display in the Bernabeu.
Wow. That's huge praise.
It is.
It describes him just bossing it, winning the ball, driving forward. Compares him to Vieira, Roy Keane. That tells you the level he was playing at.
Yeah, like a real force of nature in there, breaking things up, starting attacks, just immense.
Okay, so what about Real Madrid? The report touches on their tactics too, right?
Yeah.
What were the shortcomings it pointed out? Because, the talent they have is scary.
It is scary fast, definitely. The report acknowledges that, the speed they have, but it also points to maybe a lack of variety. Like, They missed that midfield general, that grand master, to orchestrate things, change the tempo.
Ah, okay. So, like, without Kroos and Modric at their absolute peak dictating play.
Exactly. Those two were masters of control, finding those clever passes. Without that same influence, Real Madrid looked a bit predictable.
How so?
Well, the report suggests it was often just get it wide to Vinicius Jr. or Rodrigo and let them run at the fullbacks. It even says they often just ran out of space. Like there wasn't a plan B when that direct route was blocked.
So less intricate build-up, more relying on those moments of individual magic out wide.
Seems like it. And the report suggests they were maybe banking on the psychology of scoring a goal, hoping one goal would just swing the whole tie rather than building sustained pressure.
Interesting. And when they did score, Arsenal were already ahead anyway, so maybe that blunted the impact.
Could be, yeah. And going back to Arsenal's side, the report keeps hammering home how solid that defense was, apart from that one slip.
Right.
Just really well organized, making key blocks, interceptions. It highlights a superb interception by Kiwior in the second half, actually. Compared it to Rice's impact further up.
Sounds like they were just incredibly switched on defensively. What about the work rate? That's always massive in these games.
Huge. And the stats apparently told a story in the first leg. Arsenal ran something like 14 kilometers more.
Wow, 14K.
Yeah. And Bellingham even said before the second leg they needed to up their work rate.
Did they, according to the report?
Well, the report implies maybe not enough. It mentions seeing their star attackers kind of strolling around at times, not really pressing effectively.
And at this level, you just can't afford that, can you? That lack of modern pressing.
It gives the opposition way too much time. Now let's talk atmosphere. The Bernabeu on a big European night. The report calls it a psychological torture chamber.
Oof. Sounds intense.
It's legendary for it, the pressure, the noise. It can just swallow teams whole. But the report says Arsenal seemed incredibly well prepared for exactly that.
They handled the whole ebb and flow, as the report puts it.
Right.
Managed the emotions, especially around the penalties.
Yeah, let's unpack those. So Arsenal get a penalty, VAR confirms it, foul on Marino, and then Saka tries the Panenka.
And misses.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That could have been curtains, mentally.
Absolutely. Recovering from that takes serious guts.
Yeah.
But the report says they just shook it off, didn't let it derail them.
Impressive.
Then Real Madrid get awarded one, looked pretty soft. Rice on Mbappe, maybe. But VAR steps in again, overturns it. Another massive moment, psychologically. Maybe swung things back Arsenal's way a bit.
Possibly. And the report makes a key point here. Despite all that drama, Real Madrid didn't actually create much from open play.
Apparently not. It sounds like David Rea, the Arsenal keeper, didn't have that many big saves to make, besides just waiting around during the VAR checks.
That really says a lot about Arsenal's defensive structure, doesn't it?
It really does. They limited Real, effectively. And then the report says, even after all that, Arsenal still had more to give.
Leading to Martinelli's goal.
Exactly. They finished stronger.
You've got to think, a win like this, away at the Bernabeu, that must inject massive belief into the squad, right? That they can actually win the whole thing.
Oh, undoubtedly. A huge confidence boost. The report mentions the PSG semifinal coming up, obviously.
Right.
But really focuses on this win as being exactly what Arteta wanted, tactically, mentally, the whole package.
So wrapping this up, our deep dive into this report, it really shows Arsenal's tactical smarts, that individual brilliance, Saka bouncing back, Rice dominating, Odegaard conducting, and maybe, Real Madrid not quite firing on all cylinders tactically in this game.
Absolutely. It's more than just a result, isn't it? Feels
Yeah.
like a statement about Arsenal's development, their toughness. Getting to the semis only the third time ever, that's massive for them.
It really is. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? You know, considering how Real Madrid have just owned this competition for so long. What does a win like this for Arsenal say about European football now? Are we seeing maybe a shift, new challengers really stepping up? Something to think about, for sure.